What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Harrison, and before we dive into the topic of today's video, I just want to say thank you to all the new subscribers and old subscribers. We just hit over 600 subscribers earlier this week, and I'm just very, very grateful for all the likes and the viewership, and especially all the conversations that we've had so far this year. It's very easy to just like a video, but when you actually engage in a video and comment and start a conversation, it helps the channel out tremendously, and it's just fun for me. Even if I only get one comment on a video, like I like to have conversations about video games with people. So just very, very grateful for all those who have engaged. Um, and yeah, I never thought that I would get 100 subscribers, and now I'm here at 600. I know that's kind of the cheesy thing, and everyone kind of says that, but you know, it's true. It really is true. So I'm just very thankful for where the channel's at, and looking forward to the future. So let's dive into today's topic. So we're gonna be talking about Xbox and my concerns for the next mainline console, and the reason why, and I'll get to that in a second, but let's kind of backtrack a little bit. So last year we had the it started off with the crazy rumors that every single game was going to go third party, Halo, Gears, everything, right? um I don't know exactly where that rumor came from. I think a couple people were kind of talking about it, and that kind of like gained traction, and then everybody was kind of talking about it, to so much so that Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, they did a mini podcast and said, yes, the rumors are kind of true. We're bringing these four games to other platforms. At the time, that was what, Grounded, uh, Sea of Thieves, I think Hi-Fi Rush was also one of the games, and Pentiment. And they came out, and I think they were just testing the waters of how those games would do. It's not these major exclusive games that would make people mad, like Gears of War or Halo or some other stuff. But just kind of smaller titles that Sea of Thieves has been on the market for forever, so it's not going to get the the popularity of that game, the population of that game, it's not going to grow any bigger. They've probably stagnated on Xbox and PC, so they wanted to kind of put it on PlayStation and see how that does. I know for a while, Sea of Thieves was like the number one game. I think Grounded did pretty decently for PlayStation. So again, they were just kind of testing the waters. Phil was also talking about how they were going to be doing a handheld. These are kind of more recent interviews that they were going to do a handheld, but it's probably not going to come for a couple years. And I believe on that same interview last year, Sarah Bond talked about the next generation of hardware and how that's going to be way more powerful, the most powerful console ever made. And of course, they say that every single time. Um, and then months later, Indiana Jones got announced that it's coming to the PS5, and while one could argue that the licensing fee for Indiana Jones was probably pretty expensive, and they definitely want to get their money back for that. Kind of like how the Spider-Man IP, PlayStation has to pay like a licensing fee in order to use that. Granted, the Spider-Man licensing fee is probably way more than Indiana Jones is, but let's test the waters again and put it on PlayStation. So once they announced that, I think that kind of opened the floodgates, and anything and everything at any point in time could go to Switch 2, to Switch, to PlayStation 5. I don't think there's any IPs off the limit. Even, in the recent interview that Gamertag Radio did, Paris and Danny did a great job with that interview. And also, Destin Legary, formerly from IGN, now has his own Patreon. He's had YouTube for a while, but his Patreon's called Save State Plus. So that's really cool that he's done that. And he had a really great interview with Phil Spencer as well. And he basically, just to summarize it, he talked about how happy they are with Game Pass and just bringing in their stuff to everybody. They don't want to limit people to where they can play their games, because Xbox has been cooking for years, and we've had our fair share of criticism towards Xbox because there has just been no games. But we're finally to the point, and I think it started with Call of Duty, and Indiana Jones last year. Finally, we're getting these incredible games. Like that direct was incredible. Like, I thought it was like a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 type of direct. Every single game looked incredible. They showcased really well. I'm very excited to play each and every one of those games. But to go back to the interview, Phil said that he doesn't want there to be any red lines anymore. That any game, any franchise, any IP that they have can go over. You know, Destin even asked about Starfield and said, "Hey, will Starfield? Can you confirm that Starfield's going to stay an Xbox exclusive?" And he said, "No, I can't." And again, going back to the red line thing, so it wouldn't shock me, you know, if Switch 2 launched with like a Halo Master Chief Collection. It wouldn't shock me if Halo came over to PlayStation 5. I just think Xbox is going that route. They want all their games to be on everything so they can make as much revenue as possible on these games. I mean, they spent $70 billion to acquire Activision Blizzard, you know, and spent a whole bunch of money, like $7 billion for Bethesda at the time. I think it was $7 billion. Could have been more, could have been less. I can't quite remember, but so they want to get their money back, of course. But also, I think that's just kind of the vision of Xbox and how they've been going. And if you've kind of followed their steps with Game Pass and launching everything day and date with the PC and cross save, and they it really does feel like, obviously they want your money, but it does feel like they care about, you know, some game preservation, you know, with backwards compatibility, cross save functionality, and all that stuff, like the smart delivery system they had when like the Xbox One transferred over to like the Series X and S, how they didn't charge like an up fee for that. They just automatically converted those games over to Series X. I know some developers I think did charge a fee. PlayStation definitely did. Um, but I don't know, the rapport with the consumer I think has always been very good as of late. So to get to the point, that was kind of long winded, but to get to the point of the this video is, I look over at my Series X right now, and I think about Xbox in the future and how I just don't think, you know, there could be timed exclusives for their games. Like, you know, Avowed is still Xbox exclusive. We don't know if and when that will come to uh, PlayStation 5 and Switch 2. I'm betting that it will at some point, maybe later on this year, maybe next year. So I think we'll get timed exclusives for a lot of this stuff. But yeah, just looking at my Xbox, thinking about that, how everything's going to go everywhere. Why should I need an Xbox? I never plan on selling my Series X. I'll always have that for if I ever want to boot something up. And obviously, right now it's not a great idea. I don't have a gaming PC that can run a lot of these games, and then, you know, not everything is on the PlayStation 5 yet. But I look at it, and as of right now, I have no thoughts, no wantingness, if that's a word, of getting the next Xbox. You know, yes, it's the most powerful console ever created. PlayStation's going to say the same thing whenever they have the PS6 come out. At some point, we're looking at diminishing returns on power. You know, going into this generation, you know, we were kind of promised, hey, 4K 60, no, and now we have to like choose with almost every single game. It's like, okay, do we want to prioritize resolution or frame rate? And you know, and not a lot of games do both. That have these high fidelity graphics, right? So in terms of like raw power, we're starting to see diminishing returns on that kind of stuff. You know, I'm the type of person, I do love my beautiful looking games, but also that's the reason why I love Nintendo. Is Nintendo has beautiful games, but they're not like photorealistic, and I think that's where kind of Nintendo thrives. And I think that's why they're like masters at their own devices, because I mean, a lot of third party games cannot come over to the Switch at the moment. But they have incredible games like Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, look at Mario Odyssey is still one of the best running, best looking games on the Switch, and that came out in 2017. They're just masters at developing on their own hardware. Um, and I look at stuff like the PlayStation and the Xbox. I'm like, okay, yes, these photorealistic graphics are incredible, but I don't want to sacrifice, you know, having an extra pixel in my rock, you know, for lack of a better term, or whatever the phrase is. But like, I don't want to have to suffer, you know, going from 60 to 30 just because I want my grass to look better, or the rock to look better, the landscape to look prettier. So that's my concern with Xbox, is the one kind of question that they need to answer going into the next generation, because obviously, you know, a handheld is really cool, and that's different, but with diminishing returns and all that stuff, why do I need to purchase the next Xbox? That's the question that they're going to have to answer. I don't know the answer to that. You know, my theory is they're going to make maybe the next Xbox an open platform. You know, maybe you'll with Steam, with you know, Valve allowing other companies to use the Steam OS and kind of create their own devices with it. I think that's maybe the case with the next Xbox, is you can launch your Steam or launch the Steam OS page on your Xbox, you know, and then you have access to all of your libraries. Same thing with like maybe Epic Games and stuff like that, to where, you know, you can log in to your stuff, go through their OS, play your games through the Epic Store or whatever, and then just kind of create this big ecosystem of games, kind of like going back to like the branding of the Xbox One, where they kind of wanted everything to thrive with the Xbox One. You know, they had the cable for TV. I can't remember what that's called, but you could plug that in there and watch TV. They kind of wanted that to be like the end all be all box that sat on your shelf that you used. That's where I could see maybe Xbox going in the future, have a really powerful system, but allow other, you know, other companies put their OS into it, so you can launch and have all of, like, your people have thousands of Steam games at this point. Like, being able to launch that and play that on your Xbox would be awesome. You know, again, like, you would have to kind of make sure all those games run great. But I'm sure a lot of companies could do that. Same thing with, like, you know, the Steam Deck. Like, it's got to be Steam Deck verified, right? They could do kind of the same thing with Xbox, and even like the Xbox handheld going forward. So again, I don't have all the answers to that type of question, but with Xbox going third party and sending everything everywhere, I don't not want the next Xbox, but at this moment in time, I just don't see a reason to get one. And I know there'll probably will be a reason, but if the PlayStation and the PlayStation Xbox are so similar in terms of power, at the end of the day with those, it's about the exclusives, right? You know, you have, like, Nintendo's a little bit different breed because their consoles are usually cheaper. But with Xbox and PlayStation being so similar, they have all the same third-party games for the most part. It's the exclusives that set them apart. Take away the exclusivity for Xbox, that just kind of leaves PlayStation, and that really incentivizes people to get PlayStation more because you can have Xbox. And I know that's not the worst problem to have. Like, yes, as a consumer, okay, that's one less $500, $600 device that I have to own, but that's going to be a problem for Xbox, especially if they're going to continue to sell hardware, and they say that they have no intentions to stop at this point. So again, that's a question they're going to have to answer. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I would love to start a conversation in the comments below. Let me know how you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll let YouTube algorithm pick one of my videos below for you guys to watch. Give it a click, and I hope you enjoy, and I will see you in the next video.